Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But you notice that I'm fighting up with some issues here. Can't get as yet, at least uh, the audio app to do what I would like it to do. But that being as it may, we have a program to do. Of course, I'm not seeing Joshua, so in spite of what, we have to do what we have to do in order, of course, to make certain that we are not only on time, but to make certain that we have a program as well. So that being as it may, pleasant good night to all and sundry. There you go, there you go, there you go. There you go. Of course, temporary euphoria. I felt good, but it turns out that it was premature. All right, here we go. 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 Welcome, welcome to the corridor. A friend told me in honesty and in good faith that I'm trying to do too much with the technology on a nightly basis. I'm tending to believe that that may be the case because there's so many different things has to be done, and the next thing, of course, the system may not be able to take the pressure, and as a consequence, you have these static, if you want to call it that. So I will be looking into that as well, and be a little more simple in terms of making certain that we get the quality results that we want. But let's see what is happening in the background in the meantime. Yes, indeed. Yeah, so let me just take off. Yeah. May well be that. It may well be that. So let me just take off something that may be on that is creating the static that we are getting. Or could it be the internet itself? We have not yet paid the bill. On Monday we'll be paying the bill. That is tomorrow. So I'm hoping that we get a blight, so to speak, from our provider. So I don't think it's that, because it has nothing to do with the audio. All right, as I said, there we go. That unpredictability, I think we need to iron out. We need to crush. We need to get rid of. So I'm going to, of course, take out some of the material that may be causing the static from time to time, because I've changed the tower. I expect that we're going to get a better performance, but I'm still getting the same. I'm still getting the static as far as the audio or the media player is concerned, because I normally don't get that. So it means that something is going wrong. I may have to, of course, check the technician as well tomorrow. But that being as it may, I think we should go past that, and let me do the introductions. Pleasant good night to you, Joshua. How was your day so far, or how is your day so far? And what you may have wanted to do today that you couldn't do. I know that that may fall right in my garden in terms of a negative thought, but nonetheless, I'm going to chance it. Pleasant good night to you, son. How are you?
Good night, everyone. Sorry for the late entry.
Good. That apology seemed to be. You're still a bit under the weather. You still have your little cough and so on.
I was feeling sick, and I lay down in bed, and I forgot about the live. I know it's nightly, but I forgot about it.
In addition to that, I noticed that your tongue red, man. What happened today? There was some activity further up the streets that caused confectionaries and sweets and so on, and keep it and colored up your tongue and so on. What transpired there?
So it had some kind of Thanksgiving, if I could call it.
Okay.
If I could call it. And we stayed there for some hours, and it was very long. They have very long prayers. I wanted to go home and cool off because the place was hot, very hot,
All right.
like boiling. Everybody was sweating. The AC unit in there not working.
All right. Okay.
The fan blowing hot breeze, and outside was just pure breeze.
Breeze. Oh, and heat. Because today was a relatively hot day, no?
It was hot, but the sun covered up some of the heat.
The sun covers us. The sun is what has made the heat. But that being as it may, what transpired in the Thanksgiving? What it was all about? Because it was for children. I see toys and other confectionaries and things to eat and so on.
It was a church. It was a church thing.
Church, right?
Yeah, they have once a year.
Okay, once a year, yes, annually.
Annually, and we went last year. We went. My sister went home late. My mother stayed until at least 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock in the night.
Wow. So she stayed the whole time. You stood part of the time. You stayed part of the time for the
I can go. It wasn't like in the night. No, they have like when you thing done, when everything.
When the
done,
exercise finished,
it have something for.
Oh, adults. Oh, I see. Okay. So the Thanksgiving was in the daytime to distribute the toys and to all the eats, and then you would make your party, and the adults will come and they will have the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I see. Praise and so on. All right. What are you reading for us today?
I forgot to bring my reading book.
Well, but you wasn't as serious as, but you want me to give you a little time to get it, or you want to do something else?
Let's do something else.
Let's do something else. All right, okay.
But wait. I noticed in the comments that there are no hateful people today.
No hateful people tonight. Well, that's good. That is something that could be the alternative to reading tonight. I know that you do it every night.
I guess some people just kind of hate me a little bit. I don't take it
seriously, or you don't take it on.
Because
I want to tell you this, that life is like that. Some will hate you. I think Bob Marley said it in song. Some will hate you, some will revere you, meaning that they will see you as important, as significant. And there are others who may have no position at all, either way. So you have all of that persons. That is how you go through life, and nobody will like you. Well, no community of persons will like you 100%, even though you may try to be as kind and as available, meaning that people will approach you and but some people will feel like, take for instance me, I feel I'm a very approachable person, but some people see me as not approachable. So you have that kind of, until of course they come in contact with you, and when they start to talk to you, then they realize, well, that fella is an ordinary fella who simply like to have conversations with people, right? Yeah. So you're looking forward to tomorrow for school?
Yeah, kind of. Still had a cut on my foot.
Oh yeah. And what they give, what mommy went and get for you for that?
Mommy got some kind of pills,
Right. That's antibiotics. Yeah.
antibiotics.
Yeah. And other things for the cold. And what
The
about dealing with your intestine?
the test I didn't get to. I can't get to do because Friday when Daddy went, they s- my he told me that my teacher said that I can't do it. I can't do the test because they do it on the board to the book to
Yeah.
book.
Yeah.
I think we said that yesterday.
Yeah, we did. We just explained that yesterday that the teacher said that she couldn't give him the test on Monday, that's tomorrow, because it is written on the board, and of course we argued that maybe we'll have to make some donation of paper and maybe a printer so that they could at least print it so that situations like that when they develop, because children
They
fall
have
ill.
plenty of paper. I don't know why they don't use it.
And you don't know why they're not doing it on
I
paper.
don't know. I
All right,
don't know.
but that is opposed to your previous school. They used to do it on paper. 'Cause I used to
My
get reams
school,
of that.
my school was more advanced. They used to fix up the school like every year and like most of the month. If something wrong with the toilet,
Yeah.
they don't really go in the toilet because it have fight and thing.
But they do the repairs themselves.
do
Let
the
me say.
repairs
But I want you to know too that because I am on the board of, you know, Auntie you call her,
Antibiotic.
Barbara Burke. Yeah. Archbishop Barbara Gray Burke. Well, her school, they provide from that experience, the government provides a little um, seed money, meaning that a little bit of money to repair these little things. So I don't know if you observe already. You're there only 2 weeks that the toilets they are not well taken care of. That's what you're saying, or you're
I
just
mean,
making a general statement.
the toilet flush, alright.
Okay.
Sometimes when I used to go in the bathroom, my my new school actually has plenty of toilets.
More than your previous one?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
My school had about like one, 5 toilets
Okay.
or less. Can be more, can be less.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that school toilet has to be at least 20 something.
What? The toilets?
I wouldn't be exaggerating, but I say like it was like in its teens.
All right. It's the tease, right? Okay.
In its teens.
Man say he not exaggerating. Wow. Lovely term. That's a term I would use. All right. So any other thing that you're looking forward to tomorrow before our 15 minutes is up with respect to, and then we'll get into, of course, what seem to be the adult part of the program.
I just want to ask something.
Go ahead.
Some somebody was like on the program because I see in Lennox and Samuel Smith because I don't know who's that.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah. Lennox and Samuel Smith.
I just want to know.
Lennox, you see Lennox and, oh, no, 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 sorry. My mistake again. Samuel is his name as well, but we normally will put Joshua, so he's concerned. That was a slip because I was so busy trying to rectify that audio issue that I ended up putting Lennox and Samuel Smith. So he wants to know, but it's supposed to be Lennox and Joshua. If you see Samuel, once you see Lennox, well, you know it's me. Once you see Samuel, you know it's him or Joshua. All right. So that is something that you learn. So don't feel that it's somebody else, but it is one and the same person, Samuel, as well as Joshua. My middle name as well is Samuel, incidentally. Right. So we sort of make certain that everybody carries it, especially the male part of the family.
You know what?
Yeah.
I go and see my whole name on this live. I go and see my whole name. I have four names in total.
All right. Go ahead.
Joshua, Samuel. I carry his first name as my middle name too.
Lennox. Yes.
Joshua Samuel Lennox Smith.
Well, sorry for that, people, but that is how it is. When people feel attached to their offspring, so to speak, these things occur. Is that for selfish reasons? It's a carry on the legacy, so to speak. All right, Joshua. Finally, any other thing you want to tell us? Are you looking forward to school tomorrow?
Yeah, if I could go.
If you can go, all right. All right. Well, thanks very much. We may not have the music to take you off.
I just want to say, S-West, thank you for the wonderful comment.
All right, S-West. That's somebody who is commenting there?
Yes.
All right, okay, great.
And I don't know who they, I don't know who she referring to, she or he.
All right, well. Yes, I'm trying to get my broken player tested in the meantime, but I can assure you I did not interfere with it. It simply just stopped playing and then it will resume on its own volition. But that being as it may, let us look at some of today's issues. Let me just see if I can change the background. I hope that that too will not evade me. Let's see. Boy, let's see. I hope that doesn't evade me. Then I know that something is definitely wrong. All right, so we have that. That's gone. All right. Let's see. That's the wrong one. That's the wrong background. That's the wrong background. But it's looking good, but that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. Anyhow. I don't know if later on at the ending of the program, if we could play my favorite anthem. Of course, you know what we close this Sunday with, and we try to give Sunday a sort of religious tone, so to speak. But let's go to the news. The news today, I think, is very important, of course, and the lines are open. Incidentally, I would like to. I wonder where is that phone? Where's the phone? You not see the phone? All right. The lines are open, and let's see if we can get some calls in tonight. All right, let's see if we can get some calls in tonight. I think the system has been fixed, but of course the proof of the pudding is in the actual operation. So the lines is open, of course, at 337-6940, 337-6940. And let me just, of course, treat with some of the some of the items that are making the news tonight. Of course, the veteran journalist Sterling Henderson dies. Of course, that's a guy that I knew very, very, very well in my early days of attempting to pursue my what I can say community and social activist activities. He was always there to receive my news releases and to make commentaries, etc. So I want to say to his family, my condolences, of course, and I'm going to do the same thing on the ground report tomorrow. Our condolences go out to the bereaved family of a veteran journalist, Sterling Henderson. Death toll climbed to 17. Well, this is in relation to the strikes, and now 4 strikes by the U.S. military with respect to their war on drugs and drug cartels, and so the death toll has risen to 17. A recent additional to the 3 before strikes that destroyed, of course, those boats that might have had or have been alleged to carry cocaine, marijuana, and or that fentanyl, which of course is a popular drug now being used by young people in particular in the United States, and I understand it has infiltrated Trinidad and Tobago. After all, just as the cocaine, one expects that if Trinidad and Tobago is a transshipment hub or entrepot, if it is commerce, then one expect that some of that will stay here, apart from, of course, the guns and the ammunition that would naturally be deposited here on its way to the major market in the north. Felix Roach, remember him on those of you who would recall Semnananda, yes, Semnananda and all that. I think it was him, Felix Roach, or I could be mistaken. So I don't want to go further. But he has died, a very famous name in Trinidad and Tobago in terms of playing the piano, etc. Cup TT Post, TTPS, bigger than any one person. Well, of course, the controversy relating to Meister, who was sent on 100 and something days, a very lengthy vacation he accumulated, and there is the argument that some people had accumulated more than him, and why send him, and therefore there is some issue relating to maybe he might be the victim of some power struggle that would have been referenced by the Minister of Homeland Security, Roger Alexander. He being, of course, a former recently resigned police officer, and of course took up the mantle and the challenge of becoming the parliamentary representative for Tonopuna. That being as August, Angostura adds a new sustainable premium rum packaging. Well, yes. In relation to the environment, this multi-million-dollar company, really and truly a flagship for Trinidad and Tobago and our manufacturing sector as well. And they have, of course, changed up their packaging to include environmentally friendly material and information, because they have been identifying birds, parts of the flora and fauna, the fauna of Trinidad and Tobago, and they are now engaged in this exercise and hoping that the world will accept it for what it is, as well as, of course, paying some kind of tribute to the environment sustainability. Tourism Secretary takes time away to celebrate birthday. Well, of course, that's controversy coming out of Tobago, where it is alleged that the Tourism Secretary was sent on vacation, and some are saying that she has been dismissed. So we don't know for sure what the facts are, but of course, a call has been made to ask the Chief Secretary, Pauline to give clarity as to why it is that the sudden departure of the Secretary of Tourism. Of course, she has remained silent on the matter. She has given away nothing to suggest that there's something untoward or there's some conflict. But as you know, the Tobago elections will be soon. I think, that is a matter solely in the purview, but of course within the constraints of the rules and the laws for Tobago. So the THA elections are coming up. But of course, the PPP, the party that Farley leads, believes that they have a very good opportunity to retain dominance in Tobago, having regard to the fact that they have captured both seats at the national level in Tobago. That was important information that we should share with you. I'm trying to be as timid as possible and as not to force the system, because clearly we have to do some adjustments tonight and into tomorrow. Of course, tomorrow being the first work day of the week, and therefore we will get the technicians to take a look as to what is happening, because I'm not satisfied that all systems are working as we would like. Let me try again, of course, that piece of music that I normally would play on a Sunday to identify and to respect and to revere the religious traditions of Trinidad and Tobago. On a Sunday, we sort of pay homage to the Almighty and that one. Whether, of course, you use the guitar, the Bible, or indeed the Quran. No. So it continues to disappoint. So let us not waste time with that. One of the issues that came into play, again, the line is open, so I'm yearning to test the WhatsApp line. Only WhatsApp only. Notice I don't even have the band because of the new system that we have acquired recently, so I didn't get time to put the number on the screen, but the number is 337-6940. You'll have that tomorrow screaming across the stream. But let's see. In fact, I'm going to go back to traditional. I'm going to put the phone by the speaker so that I can hear as well. At present, good night.
Good night, Lennox. How are you?
I'm fine. And yourself? Fighting up with the challenges
I'm
here
doing
in
good.
studio. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on, you know, with the United States and Mr. Trump and those go fast boats, eh?
Yeah, boy.
Blowing up them boats in the international waters. That
Yeah.
was 3 strikes, right?
Yeah. Four. From
So
today,
we did
I
3
read this
strikes,
fourth.
right?
Yeah, there's
You
a
know,
fourth one, yeah. And 17
we
deaths.
manufacture those. We manufacture those go fast boats down here. You know that, right?
The what boats? Those
We
boats
make
that
them.
are speeding through the waters that
Yeah.
they intercepted. All
I
right,
met
okay.
somebody. Yeah.
Okay.
I met this white guy. He's very wealthy, and I
I
was
know
doing
Boeing.
something. I was
Boeing has
shopping someplace.
Boeing has some kind of the Boeing have some kind of facility down at Chagaramas. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. All right then. So I'm just surprised that CARICOM isn't saying anything. I mean, everybody's just quiet and watching.
Yeah,
Nobody's
they're
saying
definitely
anything
silent on
except for
these matters.
Venezuela.
Yeah. I agree with you.
You know, if they and all the fishermen, not just in Trinidad, but in other Caribbean islands, are afraid to go into the waters to fish. And so their livelihood now is intercepted. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
interrupted
and I thought
by the
Trump
action by
Trump
the
was a bit frivolous, flippant, really, when he said that there are no boats. When they got in there, there were hundreds, and then of course there's none now. And he's saying that
and he
the
celebrated.
fisher folks um, um, profession may be dampened. And I thought that he said it pretty lightly. I would have, I normally would expect that they would say, they will provide some kind of resource to assist those persons who would have, for that period, lost their livelihood because of the fear injected into them, the presence of the Americans, and you don't know, some accident might happen, and because of that, people prefer to stay away from the water. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't just think it's the quote unquote the Americans. I think it's one person, and it's Trump.
Is
I think
what?
he looks down on the Caribbean. I feel like he laughs at us, and he treats us like we're invisible. For him to boldly go into international waters and just blindly shoot boats and kill people and say how they have identified drugs. But they're not telling us specifically what it was in the boat and who were these drug people. Show us their identity. Tell us who they are. Don't we have international courts of justice? We are either on. I'm not advocating anything for the United States and going against the United States. But what I'm saying is that it's a matter of human rights. It's a matter of rights. Do you know what I mean, Lennox?
Yep.
Like you don't just strip somebody of use on a go fast boat, and the news is reporting that those boats were not headed to Miami. They couldn't make it to Miami. Those boats were going to other ports because that shipment was going to Europe.
All right.
All of that drugs goes to Europe. The drugs that goes to the United States comes from Mexico. And he's saying there was fentanyl and all these other drugs in there. I didn't realize they made fentanyl down here in Venezuela. And he said that, well, we want Maduro out, but Mr. Trump was saying that Maduro is orchestrating all these drug deals, and he's sitting behind the desk deciding what drug route to take. And I'm thinking, is Maduro really doing this? I mean, maybe he is, because Mr. Trump
there's
literally
conflicting
with young
reports.
children a few years ago.
Some intelligence investigators say that is not so. Of course, most of the drug, 80%, come from the Pacific side. So therefore, Mexico is well there, because of course their territory expands into the Gulf of Mexico. Well, he renamed it the Gulf of America now, but the Gulf of Mexico
Yeah,
into
really,
yes
yeah, in
into
his mind.
yeah, and across to
But
the
but I think
across to the Pacific.
but we have to.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think what this should do for a lot of people here and the leaders of the Caribbean is they need to pay attention now, especially since Ms. Bissessa is going to the United Nations to speak, right? She's gonna give a presentation
Yeah.
for the next meeting that they're going to have, and I'd like to hear what she has to say.
I too.
Because,
It will be very
you know,
interesting to hear what she has to say. But of course, I see nothing. I think she may well double down on her stance at home, when she has made it very clear that it is by way of sheer serendipity, meaning by chance, by accident, that the involvement of the Americans in the way that they have, impacting positively on our drug and gang
yeah,
and
that's
yeah,
what.
yeah, yeah. So
How many?
issues
Yeah, are we
issues that
getting how
we
many
will ourselves
arrests
would have
there?
to spend resources on. Here it is, the Americans are doing it for us, and
Maybe we
therefore
should.
suggesting that she's
Maybe we should
grateful.
do.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to see a correlation. I want one of these scholarly people who usually talk in the media. Like all these, well, Sipasad, one guy's name is, and all these economists, and Lewis do a correlation, and Lewis track it. When the United States started bombing those boats, did we have drug arrests reduced in Trinidad? Were there less drugs now flowing? How would we know that? Do us at the end. Anyway, that's
Yeah,
for something
well,
intellectual
frankly,
to do.
Trump
But
has his
what
own
do you?
issues in the United States as well, because some congressmen, some lawmakers are saying, well, this thing is illegal. Congress is supposed to declare, to confirm,
Yeah.
to confirm war. Here it is, of course, Trump, has unilaterally declared that these drug cartels are menace to the United States, and they coin it in a particular fashion so that you can get the
He said it's a
military
national,
to get involved, and thus,
it's a national security interest.
yeah, yeah,
He's raising it higher than a national security interest. Like millions of people are gonna die from the drugs that come from the Caribbean.
yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, and
so what
he's
do you
saying
think
that
about this,
that
Charles?
the drugs are to kill Americans, and therefore there is a
It's gonna kill
justification
Americans.
for the acts that are taking place. So 17 persons dying in the way that they have as a consequence of the might of the United States is minuscule compared to the hundreds of thousands that would die as a consequence of overdoses and so on of this poison that comes from well, Venezuela, Colombia, and other South American countries.
Well, all those drugs either have to go to West Virginia, right? Or is it Virginia, West Virginia, by that port there, or it has to go to Miami. And
Yeah.
I haven't read anything about a big drug bust in any of those ports. Anyway, I was gonna ask you, have you heard about this guy Charlie Kirk
Who?
from the United States? He loves Charlie Kirk. He's this white guy with a receding gum line, like a really bad receding gum line. He never graduated college. He loves Jesus, which is nothing wrong in loving Jesus. And he promotes like he's almost like a white supremacist. I hate to say
Okay.
that, but he comes across like that. But Mr. Trump really loves this guy, and um, this guy goes all over campus. He's in his 30s, but he talks to all these kids about rights and tries to debate them intellectually. But it's really stupid debates, if you ask me. I don't see any meaning in his debate, but he promotes President Trump at all these meetings, and one
Well,
of
you
their
have
own
these
killed him. A white
these
guy shot him.
ultras conservative, who of course who are strictly right wingers. They love the traditional the Ku Klux Klan. Let's say
Yeah,
Ku
but
Klux
for
Klan.
him,
Did I
people
say
is right wing,
iterations? You know what I mean?
right, religious.
Metamorphosis. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you have all of that. So
Yeah, and he died, and they're treating him like he's some kind of god. He was
yes.
no Martin Luther King. He was no John F. Kennedy or Robert Kennedy. He was no real leader. He was just this guy, a white regular guy.
Okay.
And an
We have
ugly
some
guy
people
too. He wasn't
calling
anything
in.
to write
I
on.
can't get the system to work, but I have to use the hand phone, so they call in fast and furious. So, any other issue you want to raise?
But anyway, yeah, I just want to say that when Miss Bissessa goes to United Nations, and you said she's gonna double down on her stance with the United States, and
Yeah.
well, I think she should. I think she should be respectful, because I think Mr. Trump, anybody who goes against him, he comes back with a heavy hand, and we don't want any more problems in the Caribbean. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
So
I
I
hear
think
you.
we have
I
to
hear you.
kind of.
Yeah. Well, as far
But I
as she's
wish
concerned, she's
Farrakhan would
seeking
say
Trinidad and Tobago's
something.
interest, which is her
Anyway.
duty and responsibility. All right. Thanks. We have to end. All right. Let me just get Mr. Faizabad. Good night. Hello. Yeah. Good night. Yes.
East, north, west, and wherever you may be, to tell each and everyone, contribute a little dollar. So I see you had on the line Contalisa Rice, and she was giving you the Secretary of State a report.
Yeah. You know
that was the United Nations of Human Rights. Because you see, it's something I had to tell you tonight on your program, Uncle Lennox.
Go ahead.
In the PNM, and the PNM on our penny, they have no substance to tell the people that they rob them blind, they suffer them for 10 years, and they spit in their face. And they still have African people, the 13th seat, as slaves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because of a local election pending, and the Tobago House of election in December, they're trying to say they're doing something good.
Right.
But when, I nobody doesn't hear me in this kind of mood. But you see, right? You remember Latin Death. You remember the Jock Scott report?
Yes.
You remember a man head was in a whiskey case? You know that it had a whole family get wiped out? You know that it had people missing and they can't find them yet? Eh? Because of what? Because of what? Because of the same thing the Americans stand up in international water. Eh? And defending because they state. And if that last scholar understand United States and foreign place where she live, they know that them people don't pussyfoot. Because when the economy and the underground is overtaking the economy in a certain way, and the life of the citizen, right, is in jeopardy, they stand up and they correct it, especially United States. And if they're talking, they're going back to the who tax land and who this and who that. Then we go back to slavery, right? And then we go back to the Portuguese trade. And then we'll know how what it is about the mighty dollar. And no matter what. And when some people can get a politician in the pocket, that is when the dream come true. So here what's going on. Americans make a stand for the world is the big brother. But why they don't talk about in South Korea and Russia, in Ukraine, and the provoking, everything is that Trump provoking people. Yeah, why they don't talk about Africa, right? And how they're taking over the people land, right? And when Ibrahim Traore is standing up for his people and making it a better day, you see, when the Chicago voters in Trinidad now, right? After 10 years, Arilala fooled them, right? And didn't get the money for them. They was talking to UNC back. Then they come now, Arilala going on a conversation, a consultation, and telling people, know that, hey, the independent don't support it. But they don't know what you're talking about that one. But here what's going on. The mighty, greedy ones are them out there. Yeah. All they want to go and fish, or they want to go and get fish, and all they want to go. So what they do? Well, the government should write on their check because all of them make $100,000 a week. Eh? But the Tobago fisher folk, right? They had an oil spill. The tenants offer them. Tell them that they are registered business. Eh? And show the books. But so when you're talking about that, if you go in and you fishing in outside waters, eh? When you go to Maracas, you don't see a worship Uncle Lennox? You any sighted any worship outside the Maracas? Eh? So you see, people want to because
I noticed, Mr. Faisal, I noticed that a family is asking for some kind of intervention for their relative that would have been held in Caracas. They are alleging that it was a fisherman that went out there, but I recall very distinctly the Prime Minister said that you are on your own if you ended up, of course, in such a situation. So I don't know if you want to comment on that or you are aware.
Yeah, because here we're going on. That is the next thing I want to do. And let's go under the carpet. Because when right here in Cedos, right? When fishermen go right in the carcass before Sodano Rock, it has the people robbing them, pulling them down back in Venezuela. Legit fishermen. And all US to free the boat. Who's supposed to protect the border on the other side? Just imagine. So when now these people and them, these legit fishermen go and they get hold, right? Then the Prime Minister knows what she's saying. That here what's going on. Oh, why is this? You going out to fish? Why these fishermen and them ain't calling for the president of the Coast Guard on the borders? Why they are asking that the radar should be up? Why they didn't ask for the 12 Damian to be back up and running? Why the cutlass and the brushing cutlass? Why don't be outside there? Long range, what I say? What I say is, they can stay outside there on patrol. Why they there on the coast and the border spot? But you see, I don't have no cocoa in this store. But I looking to plant cocoa now. Because I hear cocoa price going up, right?
Yes.
But you see, Uncle Lennox, yeah, diplomatic ties. And you hear now how to talking to my Prime Minister and talking. But when Rowley was there, he had diplomacy because he was alive. So this Prime Minister of mine, airlines they sell with the Dragon gas and Maduro. But if Venezuela, which they're talking about, is so good, and Maduro is one of the countries, just like how Rowley run it here. Check the current person. They say Venezuela very good, everybody happy, and they have what? Same thing like what Rowley do Trinidad here. Everybody working and everybody they have everything. So if white is the citizens clean like flies, so
I hear you.
yes, if the go to each other, talk to the Spanish ambassador, let him help them. And go through the United Nations. Because that is say, what is the grounds? Have a good night.
Same to you, my friend. Same to you, my friend. I don't know if any one of you observed, and it will be very interesting if you could share it with us as well. Is there an increase in the price of fish, for example, on the market because of the presence and the detriment posed to the fisher folks to ply their trade? I would love to hear someone call in on that matter. I don't want to read from the comments. I normally don't read the comments, but certainly I would want to hear maybe Tobago, for example, those persons from Cedros, those persons Maracas, those persons, of course, Guayguayari and Mayaro, etc., who have a healthy, including, of course, Moruga. They have a very healthy group of individuals engaged in this particular trade. And whether or not you are so traumatized or you're in a state of trepidation, fright, that you are reluctant based on the presence and what transpired, or is it that you are of the view, because as I said, I have not seen it reflected here in Port of Spain. Quite a lot of fish is on the market of all types. I've not seen a drastic increase in prices. People are not complaining about the price. So one have to assume that supply and demand is almost in a state of equilibrium. Is when, of course, that equilibrium is damaged. That equilibrium shifts, where, of course, demand is greater than supply. Because there's a less in supply, of course, prices rise. So I would love to hear somebody from the fishing community comment on that. The number to call, sorry about the lack of information coming across your screen, but it's 337-6940. We'll correct that by tomorrow night. But I would love to still hear 337-6940. 337-6940. Don't forget, of course, tell a friend, tell a enemy. Yes, we are still here. The corridor transformation. It is your host at the beginning, of course, Lennox and Joshua or Samuel Smith, one and the same, Joshua or Samuel, and yes, we on for a little 15 minutes, and we're going to talk about young people issues as we delve into or taper into adult issues, if you want to call that, for the greater part of the program. So if anybody out there has some information as to the fish prices, whether or not you see a marked increase, or that there is a very limited supply, you fish eaters, and of course those who ply the trade in the waters surrounding Trinidad and Tobago within our exclusive economic zone, whether or not you are intimidated, whether you have a fear of being blasted out of the water, that you prefer to keep your boats anchored near the shore until this period would have expired. I would love to hear from some of you who would have experienced that or not experienced it, or indeed if you have, of course, a position on the matter. I know Mr. Diego Martin is one that normally would give his views on matters such as these, and of course he's what I consider to be the superlative conspiracy theorist. He has a theory for almost everything, particularly where trust and transparency and accountability is under heavy question or review or consideration. And all of that is part and parcel of the discussion. All of that is part and parcel of human existence. And in Trinidad and Tobago, there is no exception. We are part and parcel of the global community. We are part and parcel of the Western Hemisphere committee. We are community. We are part, of course, of the Caribbean community, and therefore we would be bombarded or subjected to these notions, and from time to time may be exaggerated. In other times, of course, may be the exact and the truth. Sometimes unable to be proven, but certainly they are realities. So I thought it's important that we look at that. So the number to call once again, 337-6940, 337-6940, and we will take your call. We will take your call. If you wish, you can call on the ordinary phone, because I'm using the handset ordinary phone, or you can use WhatsApp, whichever. We will accommodate your call. Right? So there's something I want to also stress on tonight, and that is I've been sent, I have been, I wouldn't say bombarded, but certainly gotten a lot of information that seem to be at variance with what is happening on the ground in this American, should I say, I would say incursion, but I would say presence in the Southern Caribbean. It's a development. A lot of fake news is being bandied about by persons who claim to have authority, especially on social media. And I want us to be very discerning, because I made mention sometime, and if the system was working, I would have played it for you, but I have to talk it for the time being, verbalize it. That American helicopter was shot down by a Venezuelan artillery. Yeah. And that the Chinese and the Russians are coming here with the nuclear powered, what I consider to be arsenal or the military might to defend Venezuela. Yet still, we hear of boats being blown up, either heading to Trinidad or some other part, both in international waters and in Venezuelan waters as well. 4 so far. And one expects that with the commentary, the fake news commentary, one would have expected an escalation of the situation in the Southern Caribbean. But we are not seeing that reported, especially in the traditional media. When you look at the American networks, you're not seeing that, but yet still, you have people are saying, and some from the United States as well, because I've gotten with several, and I'm going to prove it to you in due course. So we have to be very discerning, and it may add, that is why it was not by accident I talked about trepidation and the fright and the emasculating of the persons that are engaged in the fishing industry, and whether they too are being bombarded with that kind of information that comes almost like an epiphany out of the blues to attract attention that is not based in reality. And I want to tell you this, that anybody is gullible. I'm saying here from the perspective of persons who would have sent or attracted my attention to these developments. And I want to say that it's no fault, I don't blame you, because you would have gotten the information from somewhere. And out of an abundance of caution, you would have, of course, either forwarded the information to me, and indeed, of course, my colleagues on the ground report as well, to say this is what is happening. But the reality does not equate. So, what is the solution? Firstly, you do your own investigation. There was one that I got, and the person from the United States was in a state of flummox, in a state of anxiety, in a state of deep concern. World War III could start in the Caribbean here, right here. And what the video showed is clearly an AI voice, artificial intelligence voice, narrating a story that included boats blowing up and actual warfare between the Americans that are stationed, of course, in the Caribbean here, in the southern Caribbean, and that of Venezuela. And somehow the Americans are on shore, they are in Venezuela pursuing and attacking, of course, and vice versa. The Venezuelans fighting back, etc., on Venezuelan soil. It simply has not happened. So I want, in other words, out of an abundance of caution, and to tell those persons who may be lured, you see the AI, you're hearing the AI, you're seeing the videos and so on, and you know it simply doesn't equate, because if it is that is real, genuine, valid, verifiable news, you would see elements of that, and that is how I determine whether or not what was sent to me is true, even though it may be unique. And the argument is that the Americans don't want us to know. But don't tell me that ABC News wouldn't know, CNN wouldn't know, Fox News wouldn't know, and all of the major, what I consider to be networks in the United States wouldn't know that. And yet still they're carrying Trump's tweets and the video associated with it, that they have, of course, taken out several boats from the sea on their way to either Trinidad or some other part of the Western Hemisphere towards the north. So it's very important, because that may well fuel the anxiety, the trepidation, the reluctance of our fisher folk to go and ply their trade, and the consequence of that may be and will be higher price to be paid by the consumer for fish in this country. That's one aspect of it. But you also have the situation where the livelihood, the means of making a dollar, putting food on the table, because the Bible says you can't live by bread alone. Well, of course, the fishermen can't live by fish alone. However, fish could be the means whereby they could earn money. And so they could purchase, of course, the additional things that they would normally want or need to purchase in order to, of course, live a kind of life that is satisfactory to them based on their limited capacity and resources. That's the point I am making. But that issue extends into other areas as well. Because last night I played for you a situation where the opposition leader making the bold statement about the harsh and brutal nature of the present administration. She was careful enough for talking about the opposition leader not to identify the circumstances that would have led to the decision made by the present government to examine, to edit. And we heard something again today on that matter, because it appears that every single institution has been overrun negatively by the previous PNM government. And I was making the point repeatedly during the course of the campaign and before. These people believe that the Trinidad and Tobago belong to them. And therefore they don't have to account, they don't have to be transparent, and they could be as brutal as possible and tell you you're fast, don't interfere with your business as a democracy. Very important, so that AI generated information, which is fake news and not consistent with the reality of what is taking place out there in the southern Caribbean Sea, as far as the presence of the United States military and their other assets are concerned. We have to be very discerning and very careful not to exacerbate anxiety, which will impact negatively on our economic circumstance. The government, as far as I am concerned, is doing fine. Their diplomacy in such matters is clear. And I wanted to ask Ms. Madras this tonight. My apology if I did not. Yeah, well, I did not, but I want to tell her that she can call back on this matter. Does she believe that the Americans present is regime change in Venezuela? Is it, and in pursuance of that, the massive assets that are here, military and what I consider to be Navy or marine assets, because we have submarine as well, we understand it's here, a nuclear submarine is here. Whether or not is to intimidate and hope that the regime in Venezuela will collapse, or more practical, that somebody in the military over there will somehow get rid of Maduro, and therefore, of course, take over control on the basis that expecting that the Americans will thank them for it. Because I've also heard that defection of military personnel to the United States. I'm yet to verify that one. It's not that it is not impractical, but certainly that is what AI generated fake information presents to the consumer. It appears to be logical. It appears to be practical. It appears to be rational. It appears to be real, when in fact, of course, it turns out to be fake when you delve into the nitty-gritty. So we have to be very careful. I was making a point about the opposition leader in her, of course, attempted to give herself and her party some kind of political, what I consider to be resurrection, for want of a better term. Political resurrection, resurgence. And as if by Vike or any port for a storm, she would make a statement that at the end of the day, whatever she would have said to try to gain political fodder, to gain political currency, we always have to nestle our assessment of what the PNM says, whether through the political leader or otherwise, in relation to what we experience and whether or not they are sincere about what they are saying. Yesterday, for example, last night we talked about her almost unconditional apology. But it's not that. It could be unconditional if we did not know that she conditionalized her apology in the past with different words, but the same intent. When she said that they lost the way and looking to blame others, when she said it's a new PNM. But we have to know that Cho Chung said the same thing too, even though his PNM, his new PNM lasted, I think if it lasts 2 months, it lasts long. It was ours. And then when she now becomes the leader, she talks about another new PNM. Well, wait, what are you saying? It means, therefore, those are superficial, superfluous, insincere, and indeed very important. Because the human being has the gift of speech, we have what is something called semantics. The use of speech to deflect, to deceive, to confirm, to direct, and in this case, gain sympathy. Gain sympathy. We have to understand that. And so when she spoke about she unreservedly apologized and come back home, well, the idea is to come back home. Notice, from time to time, we get irrefutable evidence to show that it is pure deception, pure do as I say but don't do as I do, or pure ulterior agenda or motive for saying what or doing what they would have done. How can one categorically say that? Because none of us are gods, none of us know what is in somebody's mind, so you take it for face value and what they speak. But I remember very distinctly 2 incidents that tells me how deceptive the PNM leadership has evolved to be, and therefore the criminal enterprise that the PNM is. With all of the ingredients of deception, don't want it to be caught, so they will do things not to be caught. But the evidence is so pellucid, so conspicuous, so obvious that you don't need a rocket scientist to draw that inescapable conclusion. What are the 2 instances? I believe that the mocking of the Almighty, that one, whether Allah, whether it's Yahweh, whether it's God, whether it's any of the deities that is familiar in some of the religions that we practice here in Trinidad, when the human being displays a level of hypocrisy, a level of deception. You have to question, especially if they are in decision-making position, as the PNM has been able to acquire and control and exhibit between 2015 and the 28th of April. You need to be discerning. I thought it was important because the price of progress, man, is expensive. We could have done without the PNM between 2015 and the 28th of April this year. We could have done without them. Trinidad and Tobago would have been far better off. Now you may say, well, that is your argument, Smith. That is your point of view. But unless you can give me something that counters the building blocks that lead to that conclusion, then your argument is really fallow. It is hollow. It is osseous. It is irrelevant. If you cannot prove, as I can, because they are realities that were experienced. Rowley was invited after he claimed that some Muslim community, just before one of the carnivals of the past, whilst he was in office, were planning to disrupt the country. And police raided, of course, several mosques and so on. And it turned out that there was no evidence of such or the kind. That the police, at least, and the intelligence agencies and the law enforcement agency could have mustered up or could have bring to the fore to substantiate that statement. But they went into these mosques and the Muslims will call them a particular name because they have transgressed their sacred domain. And therefore, not having proven what he was saying about the Muslims, decides by one of his Muslim ministers, in this case it was, of course, Hussein, who invited him to a mosque. He, Rowley, as Prime Minister, to a mosque. And guess what? He dropped asleep in the people's place. What would have been the chances of such a thing happening? You're Prime Minister. You just accused the people and them of attempting to destabilize the country and your government. So that weighs on your mind. They invite you to a mosque and you drop asleep. Invite you to a mosque and drop asleep. But they say that the Lord moves in mysterious ways his wonders to perform. And I suppose we can go back to the story of Adam and Eve, when, of course, in order to give him a companion, he made him sleep, and then, of course, Eve was formed or created. But the point I am making here is, in Rowley's case, what were the chances that, having been burdened with that responsibility of losing the votes of the Muslim community, you end up sleeping? But that is the first one that I want to reference. The other one, of course, is the one with, again, in a Muslim environment, Zakah, it is called. Here it is, Church Young. Just before the last elections, or during the It could be during the campaign as well. Don't hold me to specificity in terms of time frame, but what is important is the action. And what was that action? In giving zakah, meaning that, of course, giving charity, really, what we call it, the Christian community, in Baptist community, we say thanksgiving. But it's a term used to give charity, frankly. And in giving the little 25 cents or the dollar or the $5 and so on, he made the comment loud in front of everybody, make sure and vote for me. Give her $5 or $10 or $20, I doubt they give it more than that. They'll give no $100 bill. He said, make sure and vote for me. And it was recorded. So it's nothing manufactured or concocted. Yeah. He said, vote for me. And that demonstrates, and of course is the quintessential, if not the epitome of insincerity, just as when Rowley dropped asleep, because he didn't really want it to be there. It's merely political expediency that would have caused that, as was the case with Young. But I want to come closer to home, because if I had it tonight, I would at least play that one. Not if I had it, I have it, but of course the player is given some issues. Let's hope we get it remedied for tomorrow's program. Remember when Rowley was invited to and was in fact participating in a PNM sponsored exercise. I think it was Cummins. These days you don't know if you come in or you go in. Fossey Bazoli, and his troubles now started. Let me tell you that one time. His troubles now started because I will also be involved in one of the multiple troubles that he has now that he doesn't have what I consider to be the fake protection of the PNM in government. But it was something hosted by him, a Baptist for the Baptist holiday. And we only jump up and he raised a him dressed like, is it Riddler? In Batman, a suit like that. I think I played it for you some time ago. So irate, so vexed, so amazed, so astonished, so distressed was I. As a practicing, of course, shouter Baptist. I thought it was insulting. I thought it was bigotry. I thought it was disrespect to my religion. When he raised a hymn, somebody touched him. Somebody touched him, and he went on and Ramashe and so on. And then, of course, young people saw that and mimic that, but put it, of course, in their own way and language, and it became, of course, a very catchy tune. But to me, and to every self-respecting shouter or Baptist, that was a total and absolute disrespect and making a mockery. And what he did to compensate, to make us show a blind eye to that sacrilegious and that affecting negatively that sacred, religious and spiritual occasion for the typical shouter Baptist in particular, for being betrayed and emasculated and curbed of expressing their religious and the dogma and the rituals associated with their spiritual and religious practice, some of which coming out of the continent of Africa. And this, of course, as we keep saying, is a melting pot and a multiracial, multi-religious, multi-ethnic, multi-even philosophical society. And here it is. He gets up on a podium and raises a tune. And then the young people interpret that to mean he mama guy, so therefore they could convert it into a song and makes it worse. He goes to a meeting, he goes to a meeting in Diego Martin, and of course his lackeys and his underlings are saying that in the most, if you want to call it, derogatory of manner. I have no respect for them because they had no respect for my religion. When they played the tune that the young people created coming out of Rowley's bigotry, raising that tune, somebody touch him. In Diego Martin, they take the song and play it as he entered and approached the podium. And what he said then, that by itself was bad. But what he said then, because no Briga, the representative for one of the Diego Martins, is trying to, of course, ingratiate and to like a typical coward, trying to get his attention, trying to get the prime minister of the day and the leader of the party attention. He said, Mr. Prime Minister, leader, we didn't know that you could have sing, but of course we want to enter you, words to that effect, we want to enter you into the Mardi Gras. A religious occasion converted into something that is totally the antithesis, because it was a religious occasion. And here it is, the PNM takes it and then by itself raising that tune in the way they did. And then of course going to a political meeting of the PNM and then saying to Rowley, mimicking of course his words, somebody touch me, somebody touch me. And young people of course converted into a soca beat for what I consider to be mundane purposes, mundane, worldly purposes, devoid of the religious ethos or the religious intent. And Nobriga saying in that Diego Martin meeting in his constituency that we want, of course, to put you up to contest the Mardi Gras, words to that effect. And if that by itself wasn't bad, they start to play the tune, and every single person in the audience and the front row would have been ministers, and they're shaking each other's hands and they shaking up to the music, etc. I'm going to show it to you just in case you missed it. And then before he started to deliver his address to the audience, he then tell them, he paused, and he then say, after the tune would have subsided, he then say, I'm going to be changing Savannah. So he's a soca artist, taking fame of the Shouter Baptists. Taking fame of the Shouter Baptist people. And you as a Baptist or somebody that respects your religion, whatever it is, you could fathom that, you could accept that, you could see that in a society that has a love for and reveres multiculturalism, multiracialism, of course, religious practice. Everybody, of course, to their own order. But we are in this melting pot called Trinidad and Tobago. How? You see, I am saying all of this to say again, be careful. We started with this discussion on AI and the Venezuelan scenario. Be very careful. But what we know, the common thread in all of this, is that the PNM has always been, especially in contemporary or recent times, the purveyor and the perpetrator and of the disrespect, not just for religious practices and religious entities, but independent institutions. Independent institutions. I don't have to take your mind back to the Police Service Commission. And of course, holders of major public office in the country, whether it be the Commissioner of Police, whether acting or otherwise, the President. And then the question of the rule of law, where everybody is supposed to be subjected. You see how eclectic, how selective the PNM has been. We have to look at, of course, even Al-Rari and his children scenario with the guns. And we have to look at the fact that he was not, of course, brought to justice, whether at the level of the fake oil matter, he Rowley, or Al-Rari at the level of the Vincent Nelson matter. The rule of law kicked out the door. And then we have, of course, the separation of powers, critical for any democracy to survive. The independence of the executive and its role, the independence of the judiciary and its role, the independence of the legislature and its role, the independence of the what? Of the fourth pillar of democracy, the media and its role. And we have seen all of them attacked, except of course the executive, because they believe once you have the executive, you have power over every facet and aspect of government and governance in this country. Because they control, of course, the purse strings of the country with the executive, since it would have been as a consequence of a decision made by the people through, of course, the representation of the People's Act and, of course, the democratic principle that says one man, one vote, and that we have a stake in Trinidad and Tobago. That is what we are looking at. So there is no way that group of people could in any way see the light of day to resurface as government in this country. I'm talking about the PNM here. The corruption and nepotism is monumental. Their incompetence in government is extremely ostentatious. Yeah. Ostentatious, yeah. It's murder after murder after murder record. And then, on the question of the economy, we have seen today from 12 billion, by the time the 28th of April reached, we are down to 4 billion US dollars in reserve. They raided the Heritage and Exhibition Fund and imposed taxes upon taxes as if it's going out of style to compensate for their own incompetence now that they have run out of cash in order to manage the economy of Trinidad and Tobago. And yet still, there are, yes, I agree, a vast minority, a vast minority, and increasing. That vastness is increasing, but nonetheless, they exist. Listening to them by saying, where you go get the money from to do this and do that, and so on, when they know they should be saying that we have consumed and used up the money and cannot account for it, and pretty soon, blue lights and silver bracelets will be part and parcel of the discussion in Trinidad and Tobago. What's the time? Wow, 9:51. People have to go. So it was nice doing it for you. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. Of course, don't forget tomorrow morning, the ground report, Andy, Mike, and myself. And don't forget, of course, let me see if I can still get that tune to play, our national anthem to play on this program. Let me see. Let me see if I get the national anthem to play. Boy, like, it taking some time, so it means, therefore, I may not get to play. What? All right. Let's see. Well, I said, whole night we getting that, so if it paused a bit, well, nothing we can do about it. But it was nice doing it for you tonight, and God bless once again. Let's see if we will get it to resume. And then, all right, good, we'll be making all the party. Boy. So once again, people, of course, have a wonderful rest of the night. Don't forget, of course, tomorrow morning, Andy, Mike, and myself on the ground report. And, of course, we will resume this tomorrow night. Let's hope in a better technical circumstance. Bye-bye.